That, I think, would be, it would, like, it would make our ancestors happy by having bringing that all back. Yeah.
Hi, my name is George Wanuch, and I'm from the Prairie Metis settlement. I've been a member here all my life. This is where I grew up, and this is where my parents grew up, and my grandparents. It's third generation here for sure, and we're raising our children here and our grandchildren. And my parents were George Wanuch Sr., and my mother was Alice Wanuch. Her maiden name was Cardinal Johnson. I have 7 siblings. I have an oldest brother, and I lost 2 brothers at young ages, and then I have 4 sisters. I've worked in the oil field in the gas plants around this area since 1994. And in 1998, I went to Manning Hospital. I was experiencing stomach issues where I was bloating, and I went back and forth. They sent me for x-rays, and for 8 months I suffered, like just absolutely suffered, where I'd sit on the edge of my bed and I'd stay up for 4 hours a night and go to work with no sleep. And I was just having issues, and they were prescribing me pills that had nothing to do with the case I was suffering from. But we didn't know that then, but I had gallstones. I don't know why they couldn't find what was wrong. My stomach would get so hard. It was like nothing was moving. My stomach was just like a dead lump. Medication wasn't helping, nothing was helping. So I got on this thing of where I'd have a beer or 2 every night just to get my stomach moving. It would move. And about 2 months into this, I went to the Oiler game and I was in pain. So I told my wife, Tracy, I said, I'm gonna go get a beer. So I left, and I went walking up the stairs, went in the hallway, and I had 1 beer previous. Anyway, the pain got to be so bad, I blacked out. I collapsed from the pain. Security found me laying in the middle of the floor. Back then, I didn't carry a cell phone. It was 1999, so they didn't know who I was. Next thing, I woke up in the Royal Alex emergency room. And they had me in this wheelchair, but they just left me. And they come and assess me, I guess, and they could smell the alcohol. So they automatically assumed I was drunk. And then my wife and my sister and my brother-in-law came. They were looking for me, and they got a hold of security, and they directed them to the Royal Alex. They found me there. And I was sitting in a wheelchair, just out of it, like I'm totally unconscious. I don't remember. And what they said was they got on the nursing and doctor station, asking why aren't you helping this guy? He's in pain. They got upset, and then they took me to the Misericordia. They automatically put me in a room, and they treated me, and they moved me again to the Grey Nuns, and that's where they found out I had pancreatitis from the gallstone infection. And all that months and months of untreating the gallstones and gallbladder led to pancreatitis. And pancreatitis is what they call alcoholic's disease. I came to, and the doctor came up to me and said, "Hey George, how are you doing?" How do you answer that? And I said, I don't know. He said, "George, you're an alcoholic, aren't you?" I said, "No, I'm not an alcoholic. I haven't drank for 5 years." No, the records said you were brought in an ambulance and you're smelling of alcohol. You're an alcoholic, George. So how could you? I'm suffering here, and I can't debate that I'm not an alcoholic. From all this, I suffered in the hospital from March until late May. I went 48 days without. I couldn't drink a drop of water. I'd wake up 4 days later. I'd gone coma states. I couldn't eat. I was a 280-pound man. I was down to 160 pounds. They told my wife, we're going to have to go in for emergency surgery, blind, because we don't know what's going on. And if we don't treat him now, he's going to eventually die in a few weeks. They removed 40 gallstones and they removed my gallbladder. After that, I was fine. 3 months later, from my surgeries, I got a cyst that grew on my pancreas, over half my pancreas. So once again, I was in surgery on the table. They told me, well, eventually you're going to become a diabetic, George. And in 2015, I became a diabetic. Not because of an unhealthy lifestyle, not because of anything I'd done. It was because they removed my pancreas. You know, I went to a specialist here in Peace River, and I needed answers. This was like 6 years ago. And I described what happened, and he said, you know what you said is true. Like, you weren't an alcoholic. The pancreatitis was caused from your gallbladder, your gallstones. That's what caused your pancreatitis. But that bothered me, that I was stereotyped in the hospital that, hey man, you're an alcoholic, you're a drunk. That's flat out, right in my face. This doctor, this professional comes to me and tells me that I'm an alcoholic. What do you do when you're laying in bed, just fighting for your life, kind of? What do you debate? You hear about it all the time, and that's my case. And now I sit here today, I'm a diabetic, I'm on insulin. It's all because of a preventable situation. So to me, it bothered me, but racism is out there, and the darker your skin, the more you see it, right? Like, sometimes we forget this, that this life is just a short, very short step to eternity. I sit on our town council these days, and it's been a really good thing for me. I get to see and hear a lot of what I've never really focused on, right? And you see a lot of people hurting. You see our members hurting. And I always want to make a difference, and I don't know if I am, but I'm sure trying. When I agreed to run, I said I need to be a part-time man. This money that goes to our wages could go to our community, could help save a life somewhere down the road, right? People say they need to leave to get a career. How could we bring the people who left, got an education, they have something that they could bring to our community? How could we bring that back? Like, how could I help my community is what I want the people to say. How could I help this community? Not how could this community help me? It all starts at the home. That's what I want our people to know, is it's got to start at the home, and then we could build our community stronger, right? Like in 1991, when the Accord was signed, everybody goes in, when they get a house, they go in and sign this agreement where you pay back 10% of your house. There's only like 10 people in this community who actually doing it. If everybody paid their 10% back, we'd still be building houses. If you paid it back, every year you'd have built up enough money for 2 houses to be built. If everybody would just participate, then it would be passed down to our kids. It's become a sad state, but I hope when my term's up, someone's gonna just come in who's gonna knock our socks off, lead us. We have a huge problem in our community, but you learn that it's not just this community, it's everywhere. Like, it's every reserve, it's every town and city. But you never want it to be your community, but it is our community suffering. You hear about a lot of situations where the drugs they're taking over our community. Again, we're trying to make a stance as a council. We're trying to stop the drug dealers. That's our role this term. As a council, we formed a strategic plan, and the number one thing in our strategic plan was a healthy community. That's what we're striving for. Every person on this community, one way or another, some family members got an addiction. Yes, it's not right to want to run out your members who are dealing drugs, but where do you start? Where do you take a stance? It's becoming a pandemic. How could you not care for your neighbor? How could you not care for that woman you just gave drugs to who's got newborns or little kids going to school the next day? How could you not care for them? Why are they not feeling that they're destroying a man's life who was working 10 years ago, just working hard to make a living for his family? Now he's just totally crippled, can't do nothing because the drugs have eaten him away. Then we got a nation that's just addicted to drugs, and this is like not even 15 years ago. I seen it start in our community. This is such a quiet community. We've always had alcohol problems. I dealt with the alcohol myself. This drugs with pills, and it came along so fast. Our bodies aren't used to these chemicals that they keep throwing at us, and it's good for you, it's good for you. It's gonna cure you, it's the cure-all. It's not the cure-all. You put your faith in Jesus Christ, He's the cure-all, and that's what I'll start preaching to you guys, but I was trying, I need to tell you that Jesus, He's a healer. There's a better way out there. There's pastors that's their job, is to help you when you're going through your ups and downs. Seek a pastor, seek an elder. Like I've been on many calls where I've gone out to help, talk to someone, pray for someone. Don't go through this alone. Many people have lost the battle trying to fight battles alone, trying to reach out to the wrong crowd, to the wrong drug, to the alcohol. It's a losing battle when you're doing that. There's people out there who've given their life to helping people who are in trouble. Every meeting I pray for my community, every night we join hands. What's wrong with someone praying for their food? What's wrong with a child sitting there blessing their food in class? We don't even have the Lord's Prayer in our schools anymore. And that's where things should start, is in our schools too, right? It's like that right now, where people think they don't need God, but we need Him more than ever. We need peace and love, and that's what the Lord provides. Always be grateful. Always try to be grateful for what you got.